O Om Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Shri Chinmaya Yatishasya Gurum Vande Tapovanam Tam Himavad Vibhutim Vai Jnana Vairagya Rupinam Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Hari Om. So we have done 2 shlokas of this text, most beautiful composition of Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji. And in the first shloka, we first did the dhyan shlokas. We first did the dhyan shlokas, which showed us that there were 4 students who were mature, who were older, and who had seen the world and realized that the world is not going to give them happiness. And so they approached the teacher, who was no other than Lord Shiva himself, who manifested in the form of Dakshinamurthy Bhagwan. And the teachings that were given by the Lord have been summarized by Shankaracharya ji in this beautiful 8 + 2, 10 shlokas. And it is said the teaching was given in silence, maunam. We have talked about that before. We'll talk a little bit more about what this maunam means. And once the teaching started, then we saw that the first shloka is Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijantar Gatam, and so on. So he says this world is nothing but a city seen in a mirror, or as we had talked, like a movie seen on a screen. The reality is the screen. The movie is an illusory projection, and in the movie, everything happens, space, time, everything happens, murder, blood, but the screen remains unaffected. So Brahman is like that consciousness. And this ignorant, this jiva approaches the teacher, who then gives him this knowledge, where he tells him this world is inside you, not outside you. And by inside you, what we mean is not me as Vachyartham, not me as Anil or Jayashri or Kusum, but me as the consciousness. In me, the consciousness, this whole world is appearing. So that is the essence of the first shloka. And that was explained very beautifully by Shankaracharya ji, and Gurudev in his commentary also has explained that. So we went over quite a bit of detail on that shloka. And then in the second shloka, so the first shloka talks about me, Tvam. So there are 3, the first 3 shlokas cover Tat Tvam Asi. that thou art. So thou, me, this individual jiva, is explained in the first shloka that when the student is ignorant, he approaches the teacher who, through teaching by in silence, and we studied what is the meaning of silence, is by when you exclude everything else, what remains is that Brahman. So na iti, that's how the teacher explained to the student. So that student is Tvam. And then Tat, that Ishvara, that consciousness, that Lord, is explained in the second shloka, and we studied that last week. Bijas yanta riva ankuro jagadidam prag nirvikalpam puna maya kalpit deshakala kalna, etc. So it says that just as the seed has the entire tree unmanifest, so also in this consciousness, this whole universe was unmanifest and then became manifest. And how did this the Ishvara, the Lord, make it manifest? Maya viva vijrimba yat yapi maha yogi va yasvechaya. Just as a magician creates this whole world of illusion on the stage and we get caught in that magic, but the magician himself is never caught because he knows that what he's doing, even when he's cutting a woman in half, he knows there is no cutting, but you and I, we get deluded. Same way, Ishvara, when he creates this world out of Maya, the Lord himself is never caught in his Maya. That's what he says, na main sansar ke haathon mein, samsar tumhare haathon. I am under the influence of Maya, but Bhagwan controls Maya. And the other example he gave is Maya Vivijram Yati Mahayogi. Just as a Mahayogi, just as Vishwamitra ji created this for Trishanku, Raja created this heaven in between earth and the heaven. Similarly, like that, the Lord makes this unmanifest world manifest. And who can tell us about that? Again, Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Nama Idam, Shri Dakshinamurthaye. I prostrate to the Guru, Shri Dakshinamurthy Bhagwan, who tells me about Tat and Tvam, you and that. Now today we will talk about Asi, how I can be that. How can I, a limited being, be that unlimited consciousness, Brahman? How is that possible? So we'll discuss that today. So we'll do shloka number 3. Hansa Ben, you can repeat after me. Yasyaiva sfuranam sadatmakam asat.
Yasyaiva sfuranam sadatmakasam.
Kamasat kalparthakam bhasate.
Asapta kalparthakam bhasate.
Sakshat tattvamasiti vedavachasa.
Sakshat tattvamasiti vedavachasa.
Yo bodhayatyashritan.
Yo bodhayatyashritan.
Yat sakshat karnat bhavena punara.
Yat sakshat karnat bhavena punara.
Vrittir bhavambho nidhau.
Vrittir bhavambho nidhau.
Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Nama Idam. Shri Dakshinamurthaye.
Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Mama Idam. Shri Dakshinamurthaye.
Yeah, all together. Hansaben, you can mute, please. Yasyaiva sfuranam sadatmakam asat kalparthakam bhasate. Sakshat tattvamasiti vedavachasa. Yo bodhayatyashritan. Yat sakshat karnat bhavena punara. Vrittir bhavambho nidhau. Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Nama Idam. Shri Dakshinamurthaye. I thought the subsequent shlokas will be easier than the first one, but no chance of that. Shankaracharya ji doesn't make it easy for us. This third shloka is as hard as the first and the second. I'll try my best to explain to the best of my ability. It's a little bit difficult, a lot of Sanskrit terminology, but I will try to make it simple. Yasya eva, yasya is the sixth case of this yaha, of this individual, eva, that alone. Sfuranam, sfuranam means illumination, means consciousness, expression. Sadatma kam, it is of the nature of ever-present reality. That consciousness, which is of the Sat and Chit both, Asat kalparthakam, as if Asat, even though it is Sat, it appears as this Asat world. Temporary world, which is an illusory world, kalparthakam bhasate. Bhasate means shines. So it is that one consciousness which shines, even though itself it is eternal, it is permanent, it is of the nature of consciousness, but appears as this impermanent, temporary, limited world, and also appears as you and me. Bhasate. And how can we know that? So he says, Sakshat Tattvam Asi, that we have heard many times, that thou art Sakshat. Sakshat means very clearly it is made clear to us. Iti, how? Veda Vachasa, by the words of the Vedas, because it is in the Upanishad that this phrase comes, Tattvam Asi. In Chandogya Upanishad, it comes 9 times by the teacher to the student, Veda Vachasa. Yaha bodhayati. So this teacher, bodhayati, tells us, but to who? Ashritan. Ashritan means one who surrender to the teacher, take ashraya in the teacher. And then what happens? Then what is the result of this knowledge? If I get it, okay, if I am that, then what is the benefit? So Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji says, Yat sakshat karanat. Sakshat karanat means once you have clearly understood and clearly seen this. Seen does not mean see as God in front of me, but see as understood. Then what happens? Bhavetna. Then there will not be punaha. Punaha means again. Avritti. Avritti means return, where bhava ambha nidhav. So bhava means becoming. Ambha means water and nidha means ocean. So this ocean of samsara, which is called a bhavsagar, you know, they say bhavsagar mein main doob gaya, mujhe naav bhejo and all that. So he says, I am drowning in this sansar of this world, oh Bhagavan, only you can save me, or Guru can save me. Only two, either Guru or Govind. So he says, bhava ambhav nidhav, I am drowning. So, but a person who has understood no longer will return to this world of ignorance. And to that Guru, Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Nama Idam, to that Shri Guru, the respected Guru, is this Nama Idam, is this prostration. And who is that Guru? None other than Shri Dakshinamurthy Bhagwan. So first we'll talk about surrender. What is a Ashritan in the second line, the end. Because how should we approach a teacher? Or how? So some people say, I have studied this knowledge, so now they go looking for students. They say, come here, I will tell you about Brahman. I will tell you the world is unreal. He says, I don't want to hear. He says, no, sit down, I'll make you hear. He says, Tere ko bola, I don't want to hear. Why are you bugging me? So there is a phrase in Sanskrit, na prishtam kaschid bruhyat. So if somebody does not want to hear about this knowledge, do not force them. Teacher should not go around propagating and saying, oh, I'm giving this, you come. I mean, of course, we have to make announcements, but the student has to be willing to learn. Second thing is, student is sitting down, he says, you go on teaching, I'll decide whether I want to accept or I don't want to accept. Such a teacher student also is, not beneficial. So you have to ashritan, you have to surrender to the teacher and come with humility that teacher, I know nothing and I want you to teach me. Also, we shouldn't go with the idea that I want to judge this teacher and see how much this teacher has improved. The idea is I should improve. So that is the first point of this shloka. Then he says asat, and a lot of schools of philosophy say this world came from non-existence. Even Buddhism to some extent says it came from shunya. There are a lot of other theories in Hinduism that this world came from asat. And they say, well, see, like the mud had to be destroyed for pot to be created, or gold had to end for ornament to be created. So the seed had to end for tree to be created. So they say that from asat came this world. And we know that from asat you cannot. You may put a building, you may have, the cement and the mortar and the bricks and the electrical wires and the wood and the steel, and you put it in an enclosure in a circle, and you leave it for 1,000 years. They are never going to put themselves together to make a building, right? They will rot, but building, you need an intelligent builder and an architect who can make the plan. So similarly, this world cannot come from non-existence. It has to come from prior existence. So what is this prior existence? So he says, Puranam sadatmakam, that which is ever existent and ever conscious, ever illumining. Spurna means illumining, that which illumines. So they say, what is the nature of Brahman? First of all, they say it is Sat and Chit. And it's not that these are properties of Brahman, but Brahman is Sat, Brahman is Chit, and Brahman is Anand. So why does Sat and Chit both have to be there? Suppose there is only Chit, consciousness, but there is no Sat, then the consciousness will become non-existent, right? You say there is no Sat, so this conscious, or there is Sat, but there is no Chit, then who will know Sat? So Brahman is Sat and Chit both. Then they say Sat, which means ever existing. To be ever existing, it has to be infinite, because if it is finite, whatever is finite will be destroyed. Whatever is finite, whether it's the Himalayas, whether it's anything that is, whether it's the whole earth, everything eventually which is finite will end. Even the sun in a few billion years will go become a dark hole, black hole. So anything that is finite will end, but this Brahman is infinite. That's why they say Ananda, it is also Ananta. It is infinite, unending, and it is of the nature of bliss. There is no sorrow. And also it is Advaitam. It is non-dual, means except for Brahman, there is nothing else. Because if you say Brahman is there and then there is something else, then it automatically limits Brahman. Then Brahman cannot become all-pervading. When we say Brahman is all-pervading, that means everything that you see is Brahman, but this name and form are illusory projections upon Brahman. So that is what we have to understand. And this world, they say, has a lower degree of reality than Brahman. Like in my dream, when I'm sleeping, and in my sleep, I project a full dream of where I was in the train, or I went in the plane, met my family in India. But when I wake up, then I realize that dream had a lower degree of reality to my waking world, right? My waking world has a higher degree. The dream has a lower degree because it appeared and disappeared. But the waker I was still there. So similarly, Brahman is always there. In Brahman, this dream of this world is appearing. Now, how do we get caught in this samsara? Why do you say, why did I get caught? So the Shastras tell us there are two reasons. Anatmani Atma Buddhi, Jagati Satyatva Buddhi, means in this Anatma, in this body that is not my true nature, I think it is me. Anil, this body is me, and that is the first error we all make. that I am Anil or I am Jayashree or I am Ambika. So that error is the first error we make, that I am this body or this body, mind, intellect, BMI, PFT, all that. The second is Jagati Satyatva Buddhi, and this world I am seeing is real. So I am real and this world is real. I means this body is real. And so that is the second error. So when I say the world is real, then what do? Now I'm looking for happiness. So where do I find happiness? In the world. I go seeking happiness in the world and I find that the world cannot give me happiness. So when I finally find out, that's when I approach the teacher and tell the teacher that you please tell me what is, and I want to get out of this samsara. I want to get out of this sorrow, because as we had talked before, every object ultimately leads to sorrow. Every happiness ultimately for a short while will give happiness, then will lead to sorrow. So then I approach the teacher, and the teacher tells us, and that we have talked before also, that this world is an illusion, like a rope upon, like a snake upon a rope. Now the snake has existence and consciousness both. Before I see the rope, I see the snake, and I see the snake exists, at least temporarily, and the snake is illumined. I am able to know the snake. But then when the light shines, then the snake disappears. Then we find the true existence was in the rope, and the true Sfuranam, illumination, was also in the rope, because the rope now becomes known to us. So that is what they're saying, that in that consciousness, which is of the nature of Sat and Chit, this world appears to have existence and consciousness. That's why I exist. That's why in the first shloka of Advait Makarand, the teacher right away hammers us. He says, Aham asmi sadabhami kadachinnaham apriyaha brahme vaham atas siddham Sachidananda Lakshanam. So he says, I exist and I know I exist and I'm dear to myself. So I have all the three qualities: existence, consciousness, and Ananda. So, but that I wrongly ascribe to this body, that I is that consciousness, because of which I am speaking and because of which all of the rest are able to listen. So that is the example they give, that if I exist, if I know, and if I am joyful to myself, that proves I am Brahman. Advait Makaranda, the whole book, then is an expansion of that first shloka. It's a very beautiful text. So there are different theories of creation given by different schools of philosophy. One is, they say, part, that, like this Advait Vedanta, where they say, well, Brahman is a whole and I am a small part of it. But that cannot be, because Brahman is said to be partless, cannot be divided. Like space, we'll talk about space later on, but Brahman cannot be divided. Then they say, well, it is a modification, like from milk, you make yogurt. You put that culture in it. In the morning, it becomes yogurt, and the milk disappears and yogurt appears. So Brahman somehow got modified to become this world. But Brahman is avyayam. That means if Brahman got, just as the milk no longer exists, only yogurt exists. So Brahman would not exist, only the world would. So Brahman cannot be modified, cannot be divided. It is not different from Brahman. It's not like darkness and light, that Brahman is light and we are darkness. No, Brahman and I are one. So we had talked about Maunam last time, explaining in silence with this, with this gesture. We had talked in detail. Another meaning of Maunam, as we said, was not this, not this. We talked last week. But the third meaning of Maunam is indirect teaching. So because people say, why do you have to go around, says rope and snake and negate the world and not this, not this, not that? Why don't you directly tell us about Brahman? Why are you saying there is this world, you negate it, not this, not that, and then you will reach Brahman? So Gurudev, when he was a student with Tapovan Maharaj, asked the same question. He said, why don't the Vedas explain? So Tapavan Maharaj didn't say anything. After about half an hour, he said, Chinmaya, go bring me some water. So Chinmaya Nanda, that time he was, a student. So he went and brought water in a cup, in a glass. So he got angry. Tapovan, he said, I asked you to bring water. I didn't say bring a cup. Why did you bring the cup? Just bring water. So he said, but how can I bring water without the cup? He said, that is Brahman. Brahman is like that water, cannot be explained. Only way Brahman can be explained is by conditioning, just as that cup, that glass is conditioning water, and only through the glass water can be brought. Water itself cannot be brought. So similarly, Brahman, that Brahman by itself cannot be explained, has to be explained indirectly by all these upadhis, all these conditionings. We'll talk about the conditionings. So that is how this teaching has to be done, through examples, through conditionings. Directly, Brahman cannot be described. That's what the scriptures say, that yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. Even the mind cannot know it, speech cannot describe it. Whatever mind can know, whatever speech can describe, you eliminate all that. And then what is left is Brahman. So then they say there are three ways of knowing anything: pratyaksha, paroksha, and aparoksha. So I will explain that. So paroksha is like, say I live in Delhi and somebody has gone to the Himalayas and he comes back and says, they are so beautiful, snow-covered peaks. Wow. So you say, well, that is paroksha. He has told me that. Maybe he has taken some pictures with his camera. So that is paroksha. He has seen and he is describing to me how beautiful Himalayas are. You say, I also must go. So then I take a flight, go to the Himalayas, take a helicopter and fly there. And then I see, then that becomes pratyaksha. Wow, yes, the Himalayas are beautiful. So that is pratyaksha, where I see it myself as that. So paroksha is what somebody else saw with somebody else's eyes. Pratyaksha means what I can see. But what is aparoksha? Aparoksha means that which is everywhere at all times, ever existing. I don't need someone else to tell me that Brahman is, because Brahman is everywhere. Somebody says, if he says, I don't experience Brahman, and that is ignorance. We'll talk about that. So it says that aparoksha means that which is there at all times, everywhere, Atma Brahman, that I am, that is aparoksha jnanam. So that's what this, when they say tattvamasi, they say that this Brahman, which if Brahman is everything, how can I be separate from that? So that is aparoksha jnanam, means that is me. I am that. Then they come to this Jahal, Jahal and Jahad, Jahal in the Gurudev's commentary. It's a little hard to understand. I'll try to explain that. So the example they give is that when a person says, my house is right on the ocean, we understand. He doesn't mean on the ocean means that is floating in the sea. What it means is he's right on the border of the ocean, and from when you step out of his house, you step into the beach, so on the ocean, you remove that and you understand that what is the correct meaning. So that is Jahal, where you remove that on and you understand. Then you go to a car race and you say the red is running fast. I have put money on the red. They know it's not red. What he means is the red car. The red car is running. So you add something else. So you remove on the ocean and you add red car. So when Brahman has to be indicated, we have to do both. One is you have to remove the upadhi, and then what is left over is Brahman. So what do we mean by upadhi? Just as the glass was the upadhi for water, so for me, what is the upadhi? Even though I am Brahman, but what is my conditioning? This body, mind, and intellect. because this body, mind, and intellect does not let me understand I am Brahman, because I have such a strong identification with this body that I think that this body alone is me, or this mind, or my mind is upset. If my mind is upset, I say I am upset. If my mind is confused, intellect is confused, I say I am confused. So that is my upadhi. And what is Ishwara's upadhi? Ishwara's upadhi is Maya. And because of Maya, this whole universe. So when you say Jahad Ajahal Lakshana, means from me, you remove this conditioning, body, mind, intellect, perceiver, feeler, ego. And from Ishwara, you remove the whole universe, remove whole Maya. That is the conditioning. So when you remove the whole universe, remove Maya, remove me, BMI, then what is left? Brahman alone. So you remove something and then you add something, and that is called Jahad Ajahal Lakshana. So you remove all these conditionings and then you add Brahman, this knowledge given by the teacher. Is that clear to everybody, or anybody needs a question? Okay. So that is what Gurudev has explained in his commentary. So I thought I will expand a little bit on that. So when you remove all the upadhis, then you come to that one substratum, which is all pervading. So Brahman alone is there, and all these upadhis are just superimposition, just as the glass is a superimposition upon the water. Water is the essence, the glass is the vehicle. So similarly, Brahman is the essence, but this world is the vehicle. But then why do we see all this changing world? So they gave a very beautiful example. Gurudev in his commentary gives an example. Say you see some big executive, Bhaskar Rao, his name is Bhaskar Rao, he's wearing a suit and tie, and on PowerPoint he's presenting, and he owns a software company, and he's in Bangalore, he's a multi-millionaire, he's very rich, he drives a Mercedes and all. Then somebody said, who is this Bhaskar Rao? He said, Arey yaar, you don't know? This is our Bhasu. Remember when we were growing up, he was running around in the village with no pant on, just a shirt, and his nose was running and his hair was a mess. And we used to call him Bhasu. Remember that same guy? That same Bhasu is now calling himself Bhaskar Rao, and he's become a big. So what we are saying is that same Bhasu was now Bhaskar Rao. So the entity, the person has not changed, but his conditioning has changed. One time he was a 4-year-old running around without any pants, and now he's wearing a suit and tie. So the one that is constant, you have to pay attention that Bhasu is now this Bhaskar Rao. This reminds me of a story. So there was this guy standing in a movie ticket line, and somebody comes and hits him hard from the back. He says, Suresh, you have changed so much. You have put on weight, you have grown a beard, and now you are bald. Hey, he hits him hard. So the guy turns around. He says, I'm not Suresh. He said, Naam bhi badal diya. You change your name also. He said, so similarly, this same entity, which before I had known, is now this. Gurudev in his commentary says that there was a Gupta, Mr. Gupta, who has now taken sannyas and become a Swami. So similarly, that will be covered more in detail in the 7th shloka, that through all these changes, that one consciousness that I am. But then they quote, Bhagavan Shri Krishna in the 15th chapter says, Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. He says, a part of me, Mam Eva Ansho, a part of me has become this universe. So they're saying Bhagavan himself is saying a part of me has become. So how can you say Bhagavan is partless? So Gurudev in his commentary explains it very well. He says, just as a part of space becomes this room, right? The room we are sitting in is space, but we have put these walls, and now we say, oh, this is my house. This is my bedroom, my living room. And this is where, or you take a box or a pot, and then you say there is pot space, there is room space, then there is hall space. And sometimes even the space gets divided. Like they say our solar system, is what sun and the 9 planets. So that goes for 1 billion miles, for example. So then we divide, okay, this is our solar system. But actually space is not divided. It appears to be divided in my house, in the pot, in the hall. So when Bhagavan says, Mamaiva Amsho, a part of me, what he means is, you think that I have been divided, but actually I am indivisible. So what they say that to remove this existence of the word of this world, they have a word called Mule Kutara. Mule Kutara means you have to remove it by the root. Like, to give an example, there is a tree, you want to remove the tree. You know, it's been growing wild in your backyard and you say, now I want to plant a vegetable garden. And suppose you chop the tree halfway, the tree will regrow. You know, the branches will, or you just remove the branches. No, you cannot do that. You cannot even chop it halfway, because you have to go to the root and pull it out by the root. So same way, this knowledge has to remove my ignorance from the root. You have to start from, where did my ignorance start? My ignorance started from vasanas, from not knowing what is my true nature. And that is how this whole problem started, this vasanas, this ignorance. And when I don't know what is my true nature, that I am that nature of infinite consciousness, but I don't know that, I think I am this limited individual, then I run after objects, that giving this object will give me happiness, or running away from this object will give me happiness. You know, like somebody I want, I will get happiness. Other one says, when I divorce her, I'll get happiness. So one wants something, another one wants to run away. So wanting and running away, likes and dislikes, Bhagavan says that again and again in the Bhagavad Gita, that likes and dislikes are the source of all the problems. So running around will never solve any problem. Whatever you get in the future will create problems. Only way to remove problem is understand, I am not this world. I am not this jiva. I am not this individual. I just have a name of Lata or Neeru or Anil, but I am consciousness. At this moment, I am playing this part, you know, just as an actor. So that has to become very, very clear. And that's what Shankaracharya ji tells, that neither that Ishvara and you cannot be one in what we call Vachyartha. I have a name Anil and Ishvara is called Sri Vishnu or Bhagwan or Sri Krishna. I and that can never be one, never, no matter how much I try, because I am limited and Bhagwan is unlimited. But the essence of that Bhagwan is consciousness, Brahman, and my essence also is Brahman. So this has to be understood as Lakshyartha, not Vachyartha. So people say, oh, Vedantins are very arrogant because they say, I am God. We never say, I am God. We say, I am Brahman. And there is a difference. God is the Brahman with attributes, with modifications, become Sri Krishna or Sri Vishnu or Lord Shiva or Mother Saraswati. So that is Brahman with attributes, and me, consciousness with attributes, becomes me. So we have to remove the attributes, the conditionings to reach Brahman. So is that clear? So removing these conditionings makes it. So that is called Mule Kutara. You have to remove the origin of ignorance, that why did the origin arise? And they say it arose because of vasanas. So once I remove that, then what is the benefit? So that's why Shankaracharya ji says, Punaravritir bhavam bhav nidhav. In this ocean of samsara, then this person will never be born again. In fact, he will understand, I was never born. If I am Brahman, I cannot be born. This body is born and the body will perish. Let it. But I am never born. So that there is no birth and there is no death for me, that is moksha. Moksha does not mean that somehow when in some state I will reach enlightenment where light will be shining and I will be all illumining, and then all followers will be around me and they will say Maharaj ji, and they will bow down to me and touch my feet and offer Guru Dakshina. No, that is not moksha. Moksha is understanding I was never born and I will never die. That's why they say immortality. You know, even in the Bhagavad Gita, the 12th chapter ends with that. Yeah, this Amritam, this Jnana Amritam, the one who knows, then Bhagavan Shri Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yad Gatva na Nivartante Tad Dham Paramam Mama, in the 15th chapter. Also he says, Sarvatha Karmanopi Nasa Bhuyo Bhijayate. One who knows this knowledge of mind clearly, the difference between Purush and Prakriti in the 13th chapter, he says, which will be starting on Sunday. Nasa Bhuyo Abhijayate. Then this person is never born again. Once he knows I am spirit, I am Purusha, I am not Prakriti, then for such an individual, there is no birth, there is no death. That's why the Upanishads say, Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati. Knower of Brahman becomes Brahman. You cannot know Brahman as an object. You know, when they say Sakshat Karanat in the second line, does not mean I'll be standing here and Brahman will be standing there and I'll say, hi Brahman, how are you? Haven't seen you in a while. It's not like that. It's not, you don't know Brahman as an object, as Sakshat, somebody in front of you. You know your own true nature as that bliss, consciousness, Sat, Chit, Anand. And in me, this whole universe, see, that is very, very important. That in me, the Atma, the consciousness, the whole universe is expressing. And I am not separate from this universe. I am not separate from anybody else because everybody is Brahman. If I am Brahman, then everybody is Brahman. Even a dog is Brahman, a cat is Brahman, a plant is Brahman. All human beings are Brahman. You then don't distinguish between Hindu and Muslim and Christian and all those male, female. Everything is Brahman and Brahman alone. So that is the understanding of a wise person. But then they say, but there are transactional problems, right? I get sick, I have to take medicine, I get hungry, I have to eat. Now after this class, you know, we'll go have lunch. So they say the transactional problem you handle at the transactional level. It does not mean that a realized master doesn't have to eat, or a realized master can walk on water, or he can jump from a 12th floor building and nothing will happen. Brahman does not mean that. So like suppose there is dirt in your house, right? To remove it, you can't put a flashlight on it and say, oh, the dirt should be removed. It's not going to happen. You have to sweep it. You have to mop it. You have to sweep it. Just by shining a flashlight, you cannot remove. Or if I'm sick, I cannot say I'm Brahman, I never get sick. No, you have to go to the doctor, take medicine and get rid of. So transactional problems you have to handle at the worldly level, but inside the clarity should be there that I am Brahman. They say, yeah, you know, last 10 years you have been telling us Tattvamasi, I am Brahman. I have been hearing for 20 years. I met Gurudev in 1990. Ever since then, 30 years. Abhi bhi kyun nahi aata hai? You know, why don't I get it? They say you have no vairagya. So just as for real estate, they say location, location, location. For spirituality, it is vairagya, vairagya, vairagya. As long as we are excessively attached to things and beings, until then, this knowledge will not be clear. So develop a healthy vairagya. Does not mean you don't love your near and dear ones, but do not depend for happiness. Because why? Because I am the nature of happiness. So why should I depend on an object or a person? They say, but, you know, it's very hard to know. You know, there are three things in spirituality: pramata, prameya, and pramanam. So to give an example, now there is this blue pen, right? So pen is the object I have to see, prameya. So this pen I used to write. So what is the pramanam? The pramanam are my eyes. My eyes are telling me there is a blue pen. And who is the pramata? Me, right? So in spirituality, what is prameya? What is to be known? Brahman. So there is no defect in Brahman, right? Nirdosham hi samam Brahma, Bhagavan says in the Bhagavad Gita. So there is no defect in Brahman. How about pramana? Pramana are the Vedas. Is there any defect in the Vedas? No. Where is the defect? In me, the knower. Because I don't have sadhan chatushtaya. All of you know what is sadhan chatushtaya: vivek, vairagya, shat sampatti, and mumukshutvam. So when sadhan chatushtaya is lacking, that is why. So for spirituality, what do I do? Stop running around. What is running around? Where people are doing a lot of karma and upasana. That is good. Nothing wrong with doing karma or upasana. But don't stop there. Some people think just by doing karma yoga, I will get enlightenment. You will not. Or just by doing puja. Those are very good to do, karma yoga and puja. But that alone will not give me enlightenment till I have knowledge. So those two are meant to purify the mind. Karma yoga and upasana are necessary. Without a purified mind, the knowledge will not stay. So I must have devotion for God. I must serve God. I must serve the Guru. I must do karma yoga. I must serve the world. And I must do daily prayer, daily puja, do some chanting. But do not stop there. Also pick up the book and read it. Pick up the book and read. And we have, lectures by different swamis, on Chinmaya channel. So listen. So by listening and then by contemplating, then the running around will stop. You will still do the karma yoga, you will still do bhakti, you will still do jnana, but you will do it with the right understanding. That's why Bhagavan Shri Krishna in the Gita says, Sarva karmani jnanagni bhasmasat kurute Arjuna. The knowledge will destroy all karmas. Then for a wise person, enlightened, then whether he does puja or not, it doesn't matter. You and I, we have to do because we have to purify our mind. But for an enlightened master, he may or may not do karma yoga. He may or may not do puja. He may or may not, because he is beyond all that. That's why Bhagavan Shri Krishna in the Gita says that the Vedas, even the Vedas cannot tell this person anything. So that is the story of this. And then a person who has understood that, then he says, Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji says, Hasta Malaka. Just as in the hand, if you have a amalaka fruit, do you need anything else? No, you have a fruit in the hand. So his student Hasta Malaka was named that by Shankaracharya ji because he said to this student of mine, the truth is as clear as fruit in the hand. So same way you and I also have to get to that state where this truth becomes my own truth. The teacher first will tell me, the scriptures will tell me, but then this understanding has to become my understanding that I am that. Teacher will say, Tattvamasi, you are that. But then I have to say, yes, I am Aham Brahmasmi, I am that. So that is the progression. The teacher says, you are that. And I say, yes, teacher, I am that. I am Brahman, I am that. So that is the moksha. Moksha is understanding that I am not this body and I was never born. And therefore, I will never die. This body will perish. In yesterday's class, I talked about Ramakrishna Paramhans. I think some of you were there, where when the day he passed away, the next day, Sharda Devi was mourning. And Ramakrishna Paramhans says, why are you mourning? I never died. I just moved from one room to the other room. So same way for us, birth and death is very important. But for a realized master, birth and death has no meaning. So that is the essence of this third shloka. Tattvamasi, you are that, is mentioned in the essence, not at the body. Body is not that, but my consciousness and that consciousness are one. So Atma and Brahma are one. That understanding is the essence of this third shloka. So that's what the first shloka talks about me. Second shloka talks about Ishvara. And third shloka talks about oneness. First shloka talks about Jiva. Yeah, the first shloka talks. Vishwam darpana drishya mananagri tulyam nijantargatam pashyani atmani mayaya bahirivod bhutam yatha nidrayaya yas sakshat kurute prabodha samaye. So atmani, in me, is this whole world. Who makes it clear? The Guru does. So aham, that tvam is indicated in the first shloka. And in tat is in the second shloka. And in the third shloka, the oneness, aikyam, tat tvamasi, aikyam of tat and tvam is indicated, but in the essence, not in the body. So whenever I say I, instead of saying I as this body, try and say I as Brahman. The more you can abide in that truth, the more the worldly situations will not affect you. So that is the purpose of studying this knowledge, and that Shankaracharya ji will tell us in the 10th shloka. What is the usefulness of studying this, that Guru Dakshin, the Dakshinamurthy Stotram. So we end here. We have about 10 minutes. Anybody has any question? It's a very difficult shloka. I hope I was able to explain it. A lot of Sanskrit words. I tried my best. It's because Gurudev's commentary also is not very easy to understand. So, but if you reread it now after having heard this, hopefully that will help. Hanji, Auntie ji, you would like to say something?
The first one is Prameha, second is Brahman. What is the third one? I didn't get.
Prameya, Praman, and Pramata, the knower. Okay. Pramata, so like the pen is the Prameya, is the known. My eyes are the Pramanam, and Pramata is me who can see this pen. So Pramata, Pramanam, and Prameya. So same way, Brahman is to be known through what is the Pramanam? Pramanam are the Upanishads. And who is the Pramata? Pramata is the ignorant, me who has to understand I am that.
One is Brahma. And then
Brahman means this, yeah, this total consciousness, Brahman, that is actually me. So only the Vedas can tell us that, or books like these.
Prameya will be Brahman.
Prameya is Brahman, Pramana is the Vedas, and Pramata is me, the knower.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So I am Brahman, that is the final understanding, but only the Upanishads or only texts like these can give us.
I wanted to reconnect with.
Yeah, thank you. No, that's a good question. Thank you for asking. So that is how this knowledge becomes my knowledge. Thank you. Yeah, Lata.
Earlier you mentioned that you have to remove the upadhi, that is the conditioning. At individual level, it's our BMI. And at Ishwara's upadhi is the Maya.
Maya and the whole
but
universe.
You said remove something and add something. Add is
Brahman. Then bring Brahman.
But let me ask you this. Once you remove, it is what it is. Why are we adding to it? No, or is this adding in our understanding?
Yes. Adding of our understanding. We are not adding Brahman. You cannot add Brahman. Brahman is always there. But I add my understanding. Like when you say red is running, what is running? The red car. So you add something. So that understanding. So same way, this understanding that Brahman alone is, this knowledge is called adding. So adding is removal of my ignorance through addition of knowledge. So when I remove all the upadhis, then the teacher says, remove all these upadhis, and what you are left with is Brahman. So teacher is adding this knowledge to remove my ignorance. That's a very good question. Thank you. I also was thinking about this question, that what do we add? Then I think the answer is you add knowledge to remove ignorance.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? Neeru, anything you have to add?
No. You did good.
Thank you. I tried this. It's a very difficult text.
On the page 40, you know, Gurudev has said Samanya Adhikarana. Can you explain a little bit that? I think it is creator and created and all.
Yes. Yeah, that's what they're saying. The creator and created are actually not separate. They are Samanya. They are the same. Adhikarana. That is the understanding that when you combine them, actually we think there is a creator and there is created. Yes, in the Vachyartha, yes, there are two, but actually this whole Tattva Bodha, this, we are doing Panchikarana and all that, that is only at the transactional level. But in reality, there is creator and there is no creator, there is no created, there never was creation. This whole creation is
so this whole theory is like, that's what they're saying.
Yes. So it is a magic, just as a magician creates a world, so same way Bhagwan has created this world for us to enjoy and to reach enlightenment. That is the purpose. And it is we ourselves, because of ignorance, that we suffer. Otherwise, the knowledge is very clear. The scriptures tell us you are that. Why are we suffering? Because I think I am this jiva, and then I look for happiness in the world. And when I don't find it, then I say, why is the world giving me sorrow? Why is he said, there is no world. He said, but where is peace? He says, you are peace. Where is security? You are security. Where is God? You are God. So you are not separate. So when I am peace, I am security, I am Brahman, then why would there be sorrow? Because this body has no reality anyway. So don't hold on to it. When it is time to go, it will go. So then all karmas and everything belong to the body. They say sanchit karma, prarabdha karma, agam, everything belongs to the jiva. Nothing belongs to me. Then you go beyond all karmas. Then such an individual, once he understands and abides in that truth, then sarva karmani vasmasat kurute, Arjuna, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, Jnanagni. Knowledge is the only way. Everything else is necessary. Karma is necessary. Puja is necessary for purification. And when a mind is pure, then the teacher, when he puts the knowledge, then the knowledge will stay. Otherwise, it will be just information. It will be knowledge, but it won't be my knowledge. For that, you need a purity of mind. So all these other sadhanas are very important for purification. We don't have to stop doing karma yoga, bhakti, puja, all those we have to keep doing with the right understanding.
I just wanted to talk about CVV, that's the Chinmaya Vishwavidyalaya. We are doing, fundraising for it at this point, and it's going to be until the middle of October. We are going to be doing the crowdfunding on this. I know some of you have donated. It's a really great project that in India, the government has given the university status for the college, which is in Kerala. And there they're going to be integrating the Eastern wisdom like yoga, meditation, and mindfulness, and all these things with the regular studies that they're going to do, science and math and all the other studies in university that they're going to do. This is going to be really beneficial for the students, as we know already, I'm sure, that they are going to be able to not only intellectually, develop, but also their inner strength will be good by the time they graduate from this university, and they will really be able to face all the challenges and be able to be a great contributor to the society. So this is a really great concept, and which I truly believe in. And I have sent you in the Tuesday study group the link to donate for this. If you have already donated, thank you very much for that. And if you have not, please use the link and donate for this. Any contribution is, appreciated. And if you want to write a check, you can either give it to me or Anil or Neeru. We'll really appreciate it. If you have any questions, you can always ask me. And please check out the link, and your support is really appreciated. Thank you. Hari.
Thank you, Jayashree. So when you do make a donation, please put Chinmaya Mission Bakersfield along California, so that way, that they know that it is coming from Bakersfield. But yeah, just do that. Even the checks we have sent, we have all put Chinmaya Mission Bakersfield. They're actually, naming a hall there because of all our donations. So whatever we give is a good cause. It's worth giving.
Jayashree, I'm not on your email list for
I
this.
have put it on this Tuesday WhatsApp group. Are you on the Tuesday WhatsApp group?
I am not.
Nil, she's not.
I'll forward it to you. Yes, I'll put it
or
on
I can send you the I can send you the link.
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten the link from others in the past, but
Yeah,
I
it's
may
the
have
same.
deleted. I may have deleted. I'm sorry. Can you
Yeah,
kindly?
I can send you the link if you just give me your email address or your phone number. I can even send it to you.
Okay,
later
all
on.
right.
You can just give me. I'll text you or something, and you can send me the.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'll
or
share you the
get
contact.
number from Neeru, and I'll send you the.
Yeah,
link.
I'll send you her phone number.
Neeru and Anil, I can always.
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
Yeah, I'll send you
Thank
her
you.
number.
I think probably she should be on the Tuesday WhatsApp group too.
Are you not on the Tuesday WhatsApp, Lata? No.
You can ask
am not.
Ambika can add.
I joined very recently, right? Last few weeks only. So that's why I'm not on it. Sorry.
I'll send Ambika and Jayashree her phone number. I'll send you her phone.
Lata, I will add you, okay? You're not on the group, so I will add you.
You have her
Thank
number?
you.
Ambika, you have her
I
number?
should have it, but please send it to me.
Yeah, I'll send it to both of you right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Lata.
Anything else? Okay, we'll see you next week. Next week is a little easier shloka, so hopefully we won't be as much lost. I had a hard time preparing, but thank you for your
This is
patience.
the Upanishad sar of the whole
Yeah.
Upanishad. We have done it in different forms, but this is all together at one place.
Very concentrated, yeah.
Now we studied this in Saddarshanam also, so, but still it is.
I think each sloka has a lot of information on it. I
Yeah,
think.
that's what. It's concentrated.
Yeah, he has packed it. That's why this long meter he has used, Shankaracharya, so he can put maximum.
Yeah. Yeah, even the wave and the ocean, you can, understand from that example also. Wave is,
Right.
like a jiva and the ocean is like Ishvara, but the content is water. That is what it means. The same way,
Yeah.
the conditioning is small, in that the conditioning is big, but both have what is common in both is water. The same way here, the common thing is the Brahman and everything else is just the conditioning. All our panchakosha, all the, body, mind, intellect, whatever you call it, is all the conditioning. And we have to remove that. That's why they use that in meditation.
Yeah, and that example also, it's good that where you have to really think like the wave cannot become ocean. I mean, you cannot become God. You're not going to be God, but the
Yes.
essence of God and essence of you is the same. The essence of water in the wave and in the ocean is the same. The wave cannot become ocean or you cannot become God, but the essence is the same. I mean, that's what.
Kusum, you have to add something?
Yeah, I don't want to add, but I want to share something. I read the 108 names of Gurudev every day. And today, coincidentally, it was Jeev Brahmekya Vide Namaha. And he says, salutation to the knower of the oneness of the individual and the supreme. And he says, the mud pot need not take a pilgrimage in search of a clay. How far is the gold from the gold ring? So far is the Lord from you. So I thought it was beautiful coincidence what you're doing today, Asi.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. We'll do the closing prayer. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhagvave. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you very much.